All right, party people and lower and higher upper god, elder gods. Welcome to Pink Buzz, and tonight we have a packed house. Why don't we go around and introduce everybody, starting with
All right, so you guys can introduce yourselves. These are the creators for Cthulhu Invades Wonderland. They have a Kickstarter running right now. They have 6 days left. It's fully funded. They're about at 688 backers, and every 50 backers, you get an added digital book that they get in. So if they get up to 7, I think you guys are already up to what, maybe 12 additional digital books added to the Kickstarter. So, I mean, it's doing really well. So we'll go around and let you guys introduce yourselves and maybe give us a little bio of yourselves, what you're doing, what you're working on, aside from obviously this book.
Cool. Hey guys, I'm Craig Florence. I'm the artist on You Just Can't Find Good Help Anymore, and I've been working on 3 different anthology projects over the past couple of years, and developing another project on the side. Hopefully that's coming out later this year. That'll be called Black Sam, and I will probably chat a little bit more about that later.
All right, sounds good. Travis, why don't you go next?
First, before I go, is Johnny the Buzz of the Pink Buzz based on his current? I'm curious if that's the case. I didn't know.
Yeah, well, I don't know. He's had issues with his internet before, so I don't know. We'll see. It's happened before, but I mean, it's not a big deal. We just carry on, and he'll pop back in.
We're good. I just miss him. I already miss him.
Yeah.
So I'm Travis Gibb. I'm the leader of this mess. I am the owner with my wife for Orange Cone Productions. We do books such as Pulp Fiction, broke down in 4 Dead Bodies, Pulp Fiction S, so I could see why I said that. Voodoo Nations, Expired. We just finished Granet State Punk, Holiday Spirits for Jerome, and one of our hit series, Cthulhu Invades, which is what we're talking about today. Cthulhu Invades Wonderland. I put this together with 70 of my friends. It's got 36 stories in it. And not only did I do the overarching concept story, but I also did the Red King versus the King in Yellow.
Very cool. All right, Chuck, you're up next, man. Why don't you hit the viewers with a little bit of what's going on with you?
Absolutely. What's up, gang? I'm Chuck Pino. I'm a writer and editor. You might know me from such projects as a writer as Belial, Welcome to the Void, and Chronicles of the Essence Guard. I've edited an awful lot of books. I think I'm on about 4 books on Kickstarter right now. And of course, I got to work with these amazing people, not only as an editor, Heather and I, who edit the book, but then also as a writer. I'm doing both the Caterpillar and a Alice piece.
Nice.
Thank you.
All right, Nathan, man.
All right.
Last but not least, right?
Yeah, my name is Nathan Cayo. I've been writing comics for, I guess, 4 or 5 years now. Mostly shorter anthology pieces. Everything from, like, one of my favorites is still an old lady who in retirement decides to rob priceless artifacts from a museum in Malta. I enjoy that one. Dystopian parenting, stuff about seances and history, all kinds of weird shit. So for this, I did work on You Just Can't Find Good Help Anymore with CR there. We did that together and really enjoyed working on it.
Very cool. Very cool. All right, so we're here to talk about the Kickstarter. It's fully funded. It's doing really well. Like I said before, you guys are up to closing in on 690 backers, and this is the second part, right? It's like an anthology series because you had done Invades Oz. I don't know about a year ago, 2 years ago, something like that.
Yeah, we did Cthulhu Invades Oz in 2020, towards the end of 2020. So a lot of people feel like it. I don't think most people got it delivered till 2021. So,
yeah.
but we did it at the end of 2020. And this is a direct sequel too. So one of the things
Sequel,
about our anthologies versus another company's anthologies is it's serialized storytelling. There's a beginning, middle, and end in these books. So that's something to note when you pick up one of these things, and it's very important to us. So the things that happen in Oz happened in the Wonderland universe for continuity's sake. So you'll see some of the Oz familiars may appear in the Wonderland book, just little Easter eggs, nothing that ever distracts you from the story. Little Easter eggs to show that it's in the same universe.
Well, and at least it's important to also note that you can read Wonderland without having read Oz and still completely understand everything and have a good time. But Oz was a really great book, so you're going to want to pick that one up too, just because.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. So more incentive for people to go pick up that first volume as well. And I was going through the tiers, and man, I got to say, it's a little pricey. Like, it's not in everyone's budget, but that box set, woo, that is a beautiful little package you put together there. I got to say, that thing is stellar, man. Like, really nice, really nice. Yeah.
Woo, look at that.
Yeah,
I was on a show last night, and the guy's like, man, you people, if you've got the money, you should pick this one up because these guys don't know their value. This is like a $300 or $400 thing, and they're giving it away at $200, and we're like,
oh yeah,
pick it up, guys.
It's very nice. I noticed that one. I was like, ooh, that's a good looking little box set there. The design's nice. I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff. Like a well put together design package. It's always a good seller. Yeah. Say hi to a few people in the chat. Serge, Mel, nice to see you guys. Adrian's in the house, the creator of Trakovi. Mel from Horror Geek Life is in the house, and Serge from the House of Nerds is in the house as well. How's it going, guys?
Hey guys.
And Cthulhu Invades Wonderland is a wonderful little book. I really enjoyed the Spill the Tea story. I thought that was really, really funny. Like, so anybody that's looking forward to picking that up, I mean, I can't wait for you to check it out because all the stories are really cute. They're really, really good H.P. Lovecraftian style, like homage. It's just a lot of really good stuff in it.
Yeah.
Am I breaking up?
I've noticed. No, you're holding in there pretty good, man. You're pretty good.
And I'll let my wife know that you like the Spill the Tea. That's going to be important. She wrote that one, so I'll let her know.
Yeah. And on Twitter, I've been following guys like chatting it up with people and leaving posts. And I saw that, Travis, you posted, and you were like, like dream collaborators. So, like, if you want to get people on to the next one. And you hinted at like the next volume might be Neverland, right? You hinted at that.
Yeah, no, it's officially announced. So
announced, yeah.
What I do is when we hit our goal, that means that we can make another one because we've hit our goal. So we've started it. It's very different though because this one only has like 13 characters. Neverland doesn't have tons of characters, right? You got the Lost Boys, which you don't really want to break them up too much. You've got to have them in at least groups of 3 because they're Lost Boys, not Lost Boy, right? You've got you got Tiger Lily, you got Tinkerbell, you've got the Indian tribe, but if you don't know, that's a racist name, so you don't want to use that, especially when you also have Lovecraft, who also tends to be a little racist. You don't.
But that was more the creator more than his creation, though. So
sure, I'm just saying, like, it's just gonna be to see if you allow that to happen. Or you just pick someone like Alan Moore, lean in, like you're not afraid to get in trouble. Do your thing.
Yeah.
I tried to pitch Cthulhu Invades Alabama, and he was like, no, we can't do that. So, whatever, woke culture. No, I'm just kidding.
But yeah, so we've got so there's like 13. So yeah, we what we've done is I'm gonna pick 5 pros who I really want to work with, and I'm gonna ask them. And I have asked them so far, and I've got 1 yes and 1 no. And I can tell you who they are. John Lee said no. He says he's too busy. I love John Lee's. If you haven't read any of his AWA books from Hotel or Crimson Cage, wanted to work for him for a long time, but he's still too good for me. So I'll keep working. Then I got Charlie Stickney from White Ash. If you guys haven't read White Ash from Scout or
Scout, yeah.
See his amazing Kickstarter. He's killing us on Kickstarter right now, like 1,000. And he said yes, so he's part of it. So that we're
cool.
We're rocking 50% right now.
There you go. So, like, from, let's say, Oz to Wonderland, do you have a lot of creators from the, like, each volume that follow and come over from one anthology to the next, or how do you try to work that out?
So it's a lot. So yes, we absolutely had people come over. We had some people transfer. And then we had some people pitch for the next volume that didn't make it in because we had so many submissions. So what I do is I handpick like who's going to be in the book, not necessarily what they're writing, but who's going to be in the book. Okay. And then they pitch. So it's not an open submission. It's, hey, here's all these people I want. Yeah, he has too many projects right now. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, that's what he said. He's like, Travis, I'd love to work with you. He knows me. We know each other personally. We talk privately. He says, but I have to write 2 books a month right now and my newsletter. And I don't know if you're on his newsletter.
Yeah. It's impressive. He's got a crazy newsletter. Yeah.
And he's just like, I just can't fit it in. So we got that. And then we've got another one who's Adam Maybe right now, who's a good friend of mine. I'm pretty sure we'll say yes. We just got some Marvel and DC work. So
cool. Very cool. So let's go back up to Craig. You mentioned that you were working on another book that's going to be coming out within the year, right? So let's hear you get into that a little bit more.
Yeah, thanks for asking about that. I'm working actually with Nathan on a project called Black Sam. It's I guess the easiest way to call it, it's a pirate story. And yeah, it's something kind of near and dear to my heart as, a historical fiction with a basis in local history and lore. And yeah, I think it's just kind of it's a love story mixed up with like action adventure, and it tells the story of the rise and fall of this pirate captain, basically from a penniless sailor, and hopefully we can kind of capture something, with the again, historical accuracy sort of that you don't get to see a lot with pirates, and I'm hoping that translates well. If anybody wants to check it out, we have blacksamcomic.com or Black Sam Comic on Instagram, so you can kind of follow along for updates. We have Hank Jones on colors. He's doing awesome. We just had the first 5 pages put out in the Collective Initiatives anthology. Travis got us on board with that. That was super exciting. And cool. Yeah, so we're pretty excited about that.
I want to say too, as so this has been Craig's sort of baby for a long time, and he brought me on board at some point last year. And I think I kept sort of thinking like, okay, we'll take the history and then we'll embellish it and we'll make it bigger. We'll make it great. And then I actually learned the history, and you don't need to make it bigger. It's such a great story. There's all kinds of things. Like one of my favorite gems that we're going to get somewhere in one of the issues is like Bellamy's crew takes over another ship. And I don't remember how old the kid is. He's like 10 or something. There's like a 10-year-old boy. And they're like, all right, you can go back with your mom. And he's like, no, I will not. I am joining the pirate crew. And the mom's like, no, you can't do that, son. You're my son. Stay with us. And he's like, no, I am joining right now. And just these wonderful historical moments that are going to make such great comics. And we don't even need to embellish them. So I'm real excited for us to keep working on this.
That's very cool. And you guys work together on, like you said, on this one, Invades Wonderland. So you're already collaborating on this. So people will get a little taste of the way you guys work together. So that's pretty cool. Anyone who backs this Kickstarter will get a little sample of you and Craig's work together. So that's pretty cool. Like it's nice to see that you guys are carrying over into other things, and you've
we've actually we've done a ton of projects together at this point. Nathan actually was the kind of first person that I connect. Like once I started doing comics anthologies a few years back, I don't know now, 4 or 5 years. But Nathan was, I think, the first person I really connected with, and we did a story for. Well, actually, I think the first Was the first thing local haunts, or was it that we had another
Local
like
haunts. I think we did the local haunts thing first. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was pretty cool. But yeah, we've done a bunch, so it's great working with Nathan. I love having that, building relationships and I've always felt like it's we have a good chemistry together. I love working with Nathan. And I think that's cool. Again, like just the collaborative nature of comics. Like when you click with somebody, it's really it's really good.
Cool. Chuck, man, you touched on it a little bit before. You have a few things going on right now too. Working on this book, Invades Wonderland. What else have you been working on? You mentioned a few other Kickstarters that you've had running presently, right?
You're muted, buddy.
Oh, I think you're on mute, Chuck.
I am on mute. Sorry. Yeah. I do have a bunch. I have them all on my calendar, but I've got Immortal Eras from Edward Davis, issue 6. That's on Kickstarter right now with 9 days left. It's a really cool story about a dystopian world where people don't die, and they're trying to change that. So we've got that one, which is really cool. We also have Green Zone Enter the Life in the Blocks, which is basically, I like to pitch it as X-Men meets Training Day. And that's from Freestyle Comics. That's a really cool one. And then, I know I got some other ones. I also have Shuffle, which is on Zoop right now. That's through Arledge Comics. And that's a really cool YA book about a boy who finds a mystical set of armor that is tuned into his music player. And his music player is stuck on shuffle. So whenever he changes the music, that gives him a new set of power depending on the song and the band.
That sounds pretty cool.
It's fun.
Yeah. All right. Cool, man. So back to Travis, man. This book is published through your production company, your publishing company, which is Orange Cone, which you have done a ton of Kickstarters. You're pretty much a veteran in the crowdfunding. You're a master. I think you could do it in your sleep now with the amount of books you've kickstarted. So, like we'd mentioned off air, just recently, one that just came out not too long ago was Granet State Punk, which was a fantastic book. You've done a few others, like you do at least a Kickstarter once every month, right? At least minimum, no?
It feels like it. It's not every month, but it's about every 2.
Okay.
So one of the things we do is we make sure we're finished. So we have a full schedule. If you want me to go over it, I can go over this full schedule for the rest of the year. We can talk over it. I got Voodoo Nations 3 in May. I got Broke Down and Fortnite about his trade in June. We've got July. We've got Pop Van Winkle, which is my wife's story. In October, I have kind of got a cough there. Something's coming in October. I don't know. You guys got that right? That coming in October. Like, you guys got that?
Yeah, for sure.
And then November we got Holiday Spirits 2, which is a very cool book. And that's not counting Expired 2 that's coming out next year. Granet State Punk 2. If you guys don't know, we did announce I am working on the script. It resonated so well. It was supposed to be just a one-shot, but you guys loved it so much. Everyone loved it. Everyone wants to see more of Zeke. So we're going to do some more madness with Zeke.
Sweet.
Man, that's awesome. Yeah, that's very awesome. Yeah. All right, so back to this Kickstarter. Like we said before, there's 6 days left. So anyone who's a fan of Lovecraft and all that lore definitely should go back this, which it's already funded. So, that's wonderful. You guys are, like you said, Neverland will be the 3rd installment, and you have Oz. So go back this, pick up Oz and Neverland. When do you think the sequel to the 3rd part will be coming out roughly? Next year, around what time?
So that's hard to say. So it depends on how much getting the teams together, because like I said, it's a little different this time. I've asked some pros, and then the people who've come along from the ride. So that's the Orange Cone team and Chuck. Chuck edits one of the books, but the Orange Cone team and Chuck. Chuck was one of the first guys who I called on the phone in a Dunkin' Donuts parking lot and go, "All right, I have this idea. but you've got to hear the whole thing out. Don't speak until I tell you the whole thing, because I was like, here's my pitches. Here's who I want to be part of it. It's all going to be serialized. It's got to be a beginning, middle, and end. Like, what do you think? So Chuck's been on since day one. He's one of the editors on the team. Him and my wife share editing duties on it. So from there, they are each going to pick people who they feel should come back, one person each. So my 5, that each of them are going to have 4, and then we'll open it up to former people and some new people who we want to get on the platform. But assuming that is, we're going to put it in an 8-month. We're going to try to speed it up a little bit, so it's going to be an 8-month production cycle instead of a year.
Okay.
So maybe October next year.
Pretty cool. Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And like you say, the story has a beginning, a middle, and an end. So you have so many people involved on this. How do you approach people? Like, do you have like a brief synopsis that you throw at them and be like, this is the main idea, and just go with it, create your own little thing with it, as long as it stays within this idea? Like, how do you get everyone, like, your ducks in a row with these many creators on one title?
It's very hard. Yeah, it's so for the first one, it was pretty easy. Everyone had a character, and they could only write that character, and they couldn't include other characters except for flashbacks. And then I'm pretty clever, and I found a way to hide it. So here's a secret to writing. If anybody's here's a writer, here's a secret. If you make time go forward, people fill in the blanks. They just do. It's every writer's trick. That's why you see those jump cuts 3 years later. We fill in the blank of what that is. And then we get surprised even later when you go, that's not what I thought it was during that 3-year jump. Because, they're a happy life. Now he's a drunk. What happened? Whatever that case may be. So with that gap, it allowed a lot of freedom if characters change or personalities change or costumes change to allow that. So that's how the first one worked out really well. And then I was like, that was simple. Like, why do that again? Let's change it up. So in this one, in Wonderland, you have to have a loyal character, meaning you're loyal to keeping Wonderland the way it is, or you've embraced Cthulhu's extra madness on top of your current madness, and you're going to do that. And then we have a war. People live, people die. It's an epic battle. So for that, they had to pick which part of the war they are and basically where they're at. Are they pre-war? Are they in the middle of the war, like in a battle of fight between, loyal and a foe, or are they at the end, at the ending of the book? So we kind of split all that up and kind of made it all work.
Yeah, it's kind of cool because in the preview you sent us, like you said, Nathan and Craig's part is you touch on that little war a bit, and it's fun to play on, right? Because Cthulhu comes in and is invading, and you see who stays loyal to the world that's in Alice, or do they like succumb to like the Cthulhu's power and influence, right? So you get that play on which players are going to be loyal to the Wonderland world and which ones get on board with the Lovecraftian kind of madness. So it's kind of like I love how that story kind of touches on that, and I'm sure a bunch of the other ones will play off that as well. It's really fun little stories like that.
Yeah, it's really hard, and we write a disclaimer in the beginning because we do some crazy stuff. Like this one, we may make some people mad with some of the decisions we made. Actually, let me revise that. Decisions that Chuck made. Regardless of what Chuck may tell you later, it was all Chuck's idea. Regardless if he has an email that says, "Hey, Travis says to do that," it was Chuck's idea. If you're upset, and we will fire Chuck, I have no problem sacrificing Chuck for the greater cause of the book. But
if you really like it, it was all me. I'll own that then.
But we write a disclaimer that we do love these characters, and we're showing them in a different aspect that you've ever seen them before because of what's happened. And because we love the characters, we love all the characters, meaning Cthulhu, the King in Yellow, the Merfolk, all the stuff that comes there too. You can't just pick and choose what you love if you're going to do that. So we take on the garb seriously, and when we edit the stories, when we approve the stories, all that is taken in consideration. We go through a fine-tooth comb that they sound right, that they're doing stuff, and that they make sense the way we know them. And people quiz us, man. We've been on these shows where they're just like, What about the Bandersnatch? Do you have a Bandersnatch? I'm like, yes, I do. You know, the Bandersnatch was mentioned in the Snark poem that came up before. I was like, yes, but it was also in Beyond the Look. Like, I have to have these debates and have to have these. I have to be like a scholar on these things. But
well, what would be great is to see the Jabberwocky fight Yog-Sothoth. I mean, just saying, just those two names going at each other would be magical.
I'm just saying, look at some of the things that you see in the book. There's some cool stuff.
No, I hear you. I love it. I absolutely do. But the Jabberwock versus Yog-Sothoth would be dope.
Johnny, go ahead and look at the preview again and find him and look at who he may be facing. So there's some interesting stuff there.
Okay.
There's some stuff. I think you may get what you want.
Sweet.
Yeah. I know we touched on it with Nathan a bit because you're working on the book with Craig, but do you have anything else you're working on aside from the Black Sand with Craig? Or
I mean, nothing really advanced yet. Some other what would you call it? Anthology submissions. I'm writing out some longer stuff, but nothing that's even at a full script at the moment. But yeah, all kinds of wacky ideas.
It's time to start sucking up to Travis then right now to get in on that Neverland book, man. Or Chuck, either or, you know.
I don't know. I heard Chuck might be fired soon, so.
Yeah. Distance.
Well, play both sides because he'll end up some, you know, like, so wherever he ends up, maybe he'll bring you over there, and then you know.
Start messaging my wife right now. Hey, Johnny from Pink Buzz really loved your book. I wanted to tell you before Travis did. Just very important. It's great.
Yeah. Yeah. So I saw that you guys you kind of have a little deal going with the other Cthulhu is Hard to Spell. You get a little bookmark, right? If you back both books, you get a little perk there. You did what's the other one? The Grey Wolf, Lone Wolf. You get a print if you back your book with theirs as well. You get a little personalized print, like a print. I don't know if it's signed. I can't remember if it was signed, but it's kind of cool. You guys are doing that. Like, I've noticed that with other projects and a lot of Kickstarter, the community. A lot of you guys like team up and give people like little perks for like backing multiple books from, and it helps cross promote different promotions amongst you guys, which is really cool. I think that's a great way, a great business model to help support each other.
Yeah, it's one of the good things about Kickstarter. It is a community, you know, and everyone in this book is an active part of the community. That's how I know them. That's how I created them, and not created them. That's how I learned about them from their creations, is what I meant. I did not create everyone, but if you like what Chuck wrote or you hate him, I did create Chuck from the ground up. He's only an editor because I said so.
That's the only reason.
A writer? You're only a writer because no.
No, let's go with editor. you get a lot more credits your way if you go with editor, man. Like, just go quantity.
But yeah, partnering with that, and one of the things we intentionally did, you know, is the Cthulhu one, because that's a big book too. That just got off a Kickstarter, but it's like a $50 book. But we did that on purpose to show you that we're not in competition. Just because he's running a Cthulhu book and I'm running a Cthulhu book, there's enough money and time to go around, right? When I go to the comic store, I don't go, I'm never going to look at a Batman book because Spider-Man said the Batman's bad, right? Or because I'm loyal to Batman, or better night, Moon Knight and Batman, because they're very similar characters, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's 8 Batman books out, right? So, what, you can't have 2 Cthulhu books?
Right.
You know, like, come on now. Like, if you could put out 8 Batmans, you could have two of those.
Exactly. So,
well, especially when there's such a different flavor to both books.
Yeah, that's it, eh? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
For real.
Which is pretty cool because you're taking public domain properties, right? And like So this public domain property is invading this one, and then like you keep going on this way, which is pretty cool, Neverland. And I mean, this content's been out for so long. I mean, how many more public domain properties can you tackle with this? Like, I mean, have you thought it through?
Sherwood Forest. That's what I'm thinking of. What you guys were talking.
I've still been pushing for Cthulhu Invades the 100-acre wood. That's what I'm all about.
Yeah, so you got Pooh, you got Conan coming up, you've got the monsters, the Universal monsters. And then you've got Robin Hood, you've got the Lancelot and the Carols, you got
King Arthur,
you got Shakespeare,
Arthur.
you got Grendel,
Shakespeare,
stuff. And then the gods, you can go Greek gods, we can go forever. But I really, and then Grimm fairy tales, you got all the Grimm fairy tales.
Yeah, the Grimm, yeah.
But I really feel, and the way we're going to break it up, I'm not sure if we're going to do one after Neverland. I'm not committing to it right now. But if we do, it's always going to be like this. This is our Star Wars saga, a 3 trilogy that's all connected. If we do another one, it'll be its own thing, that's related, but you don't need those to enjoy this, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. No, that's cool. That's cool. Because now, like books and stuff, like all this stuff's been out for so long, so you're getting a lot more. Like, there's so much choice now because people have been creating stuff for so long now. That the public domain, you have, like you said, you just named almost a dozen properties that are public domain that people could go and dive into it and explore and create stories, which is just wonderful.
Well, the neat thing about especially with the elder gods like Cthulhu is it was taken so seriously for so long. I think because it took so long for it to get famous after Lovecraft died, that now people are finally just being able to have a sense of humor with it, that you're kind of getting like comics like Call of Cthulhu from Dark Horse, which is about like Hester's daughter who has these powers, and it's kind of a lot more of a YA type story. Or you can have, like Cthulhu Invades Wonderland and not have people being a stickler about it, because for a while there it was like, oh, you got to take it seriously because it's ooh. And I don't know, I like that it's kind of calmed down, and it's just applicable for everybody. It's just approachable now. It's not like the niche thing anymore. And I think that's wonderful, because like I've been on Kickstarter and I've read lots of great things like the H.P. Lovecraft Beauty and the Beast and all these other things that people are coming out of the woodwork with, and they're glorious. So it's great to see like all this just rush of content from this thing that was so serious and so strict for so long. It's good.
Yeah, thanks for saying that. That's a big part of it. The other thing that I like to point out when I do these and why we take it so seriously, let's be honest. I have 70 plus creators. Out of that 70, probably 2 or 3 will ever touch the big 2. And of those 3 that may take it, most likely they're going to do the back part of an annual, and all they're allowed to tell is a story of Spider-Man giving Mary Jane a present. And it can't be a sexual present. It's got to be a regular present. Eric Larson took all the lingerie stuff in the 90s. No one's allowed to do it anymore.
He did it so well, though.
He did do it so well. But we get to create characters or be part of something that's going to outlive us, right? We get to write Alice or Dorothy or Cthulhu or Tin Man or Scarecrow or Mad Hatter. These iconic characters, this is the closest we're going to be able to get to touch someone's property that matters, that really matters to the grand scheme of things. Mm-hmm. Nathan or Chuck may let me write one of their characters, and I'm not saying their characters don't matter. They matter to me, they matter to Chuck, but to matter to the mythos of the universe. You go to any convention, you'll see a T-shirt of some of these properties because they're so iconic. And that's something we take very seriously, both as creators and as stuff. And we've talked about, if people don't take it seriously, we don't take it seriously. We let them know that this is an important thing, and people do take this seriously. There's discussion groups all over the internet of people who talk about this stuff all the time, of what the meanings was and this and that. So we try to take it as seriously as if we were writing, Spider-Man, Batman, Moon Knight. If anybody else has to say about that, but I think it's important to note.
Well, even like when I had to write Alice, Russell Nolte had already written his Alice story, and he had done all of his research. He had followed the cadence very well to make sure that everything he had her say kind of just made sense out of her mouth and all that sort of stuff. And so I very much studied his work when I moved forward and made sure that my Alice felt like it was the same Alice that worked with his. And in fact, our stories do connect. You can see kind of where his ends and then where mine comes in, and how closely related they are. So yeah, it was really important to all of us. Even way back when we did Cthulhu Invades Oz, I had some characters in mind, and I had a creator come to me and go, I want to use this character. And I was like, well, there's my script, anything you need. And a lot of us have done that, where we're sharing our materials. If you need to know something, if there's something you want to do, check it out. And it's been really good. And it's a nice way to, especially with us writers, to kind of have us writers talking and formatting ideas and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think it's been cool seeing, like, between creators, the sharing of different materials and stuff in the mythos and things to check out. That has been really cool. And I know, like, personally, just on Oz, when story I did with David Galliano, we really got super into it. Like, it was kind of a I mean, I have like a tendency to do this anyway, I think. But just like really delving into like all this like side mythology that like didn't really necessarily matter to our story, but like we wanted to make sure that that it did influence in some way whatever we had going on there, and like the visual kind of language, and like being true to what had been done before. Going back to like just these old illustrations and everything from the original works, and trying to kind of track that through time, and again just keep it keep the heart of what was there, and really be faithful to it. I think that everybody's done a great job with that, and it really does feel like you're immersed in those worlds.
Craig, that piece you guys did in Oz with TikTok, I didn't know TikTok at all. Hadn't watched that movie, didn't know anything about it, did not care. And then I read your piece and I was like, crap, I'm probably going to have to watch this movie, because that piece was really good. And everyone who I talked to was like, dude, I mean, I love that character and I love it. I'm like, I don't know that character, but I too love that character, because you guys just did such a wonderful job. Your art was spectacular. Dave Galliano, as always, hit it out of the park. It was just beautiful work, man.
Cool. I love to hear that, man. It's funny you said that too about TikTok. When David got in touch with me, and we were chatting about, he had a few different ideas whatever, but he's like, I think we're gonna do this TikTok thing. And I was like, dude, I don't really know anything about that. I was like, I know my girlfriend's on it like all day long, and and he's like, oh, dude, no, like no, it's like this mechanical man. And I was like, oh, and then he just started showing me everything. But yeah, it's a really cool character. And there's a few more, just in that particular story, and in Nathan and my story, you just can't find good help anymore. These kind of side characters that you really don't know outside of the core stories. A lot of folks don't, but that are important to the world, and are certainly important to people that do have a better understanding of what's happening. And it's been really cool to explore those.
I'd like to touch on something that both Travis and Johnny both mentioned, how you put a disclaimer like you're taking this material seriously, and Johnny kind of touched on how people get up in arms like, oh, taking this stuff too seriously, and now you guys are taking these things, molding them together, and having fun with it. So what kind of comeback did you have from the first one with Oz? Like, did you have a lot of, like, anyone come back with negative feedback at you? Like, how could you? This is blasphemy. You're taking something that's like near and dear to our hearts, a classic that's been around for so long. Or was it mostly positive? Like, did you have to deal with any kind of negative fallout from it, or?
It wasn't negative fallback. Mostly the stuff that we got was Well, one of them is the creator of who did the Wizard story wanted to make the Wizard African American, and I had no problem.
Okay.
So that was one that we got a little bit of thumb back for, and I was like,
Oh,
okay,
yeah, that's stupid.
he's the wizard, whatever.
Who gets mad about that? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. So that was one. The other one was there was characters, because my original intent was I was going to do a small floppy after this, which Chuck may remember. I was going to do a small floppy to continued stories, like lost stories from Oz. So Cthulhu Invades Oz. So we intentionally left some characters out, like the Gnome King and some things like that. So I always get questions of, what about the Gnome King or Captain? I can't even think of his name, but there's a captain who like is in charge of all the Tin Man army. Like, why is he not in the story? I was like, we intentionally left a few out to do things with, that we like. So things like that, we've got some feedback. What about you, Chuck? I know you sell it a lot. Do you have any negative?
Well, it's not negative, but like when I was in Florida at the collective, there was like 14 of us who had all worked on the book together, and we're all signing it. And so everybody would come by and get their book signed by everyone. And someone came by and I'm signing, and they said, "Which piece did you do?" And I said, I did the Scarecrow. And they went, "Oh, the Scarecrow," because I guess they'd already read it. They brought their book to have it signed by everyone. They said, "The Scarecrow, did you do to him what I think you did to him?" And I was like, "Yeah, man. Yeah. If you're thinking something really brutal, yeah, that's what happened." And he's like, "Man, that's messed up." And I was like, "Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah,
that's the only response I could go for. Thanks. Not normally a horror writer, but I've been leaning into it a little bit, and that's the response I wanted. That's nasty. Thank you."
That's where you're like, you just made my day. Thank you.
Yeah.
Here, I sign it, and yeah, that's all right, man. That's cool. Like, I like hearing these stories because you see, like, especially on social media, people get outraged over like the littlest little thing when you change something with, let's say, Batman or this or that. Like something that people hold like so dear to themselves. Like, you change a little thing and they just go crazy. Like, I don't know if it's because they're off their meds or what, but sometimes, man, some people go on these rants and it's just wild. Just wild.
Why does Sonic have teeth?
Is that the new one now?
Thing. That was when the first trailer came out. Yeah.
To be fair, we fixed Sonic, so that was a good one. But the rest is bad, Chuck.
Yeah. I'm just saying.
Yeah. So you didn't get anything major coming back. So this new edition or the second part. So you have no worries. Like, you're pretty at peace going into this one, and you didn't have too many worries then. And
yeah, I think the disclaimer helped. I really do like the disclaimer that we write, and I write how intimate and personal it is to us, and we try to like compare to them. Like, there's a lot of untold stories here. So what we do in Cthulhu Invades Oz, if you didn't read it, every chapter is a spot in the invasion. So invasion day 312. So there's 312 days. Other things happen. Your character could have had a great life, and then he made some bad decisions on day 312. Right? You're only seeing this snapshot of what's going on, and you can get a full story from it. But I think that helps a lot, is allowing that little bit of disbelief. And then we've done, we have some beautiful stories that come out of here. One of the stories that we have out of here, I hired a girl at 14 years old to draw Dorothy. So I had her draw Dorothy, which is beautiful. And then we had her for Cthulhu Invade Wonderland because Alice is 16 in Alice in Wonderland, which is so cool. And then she's now going to be in Neverland. She'll come out when she's 18 because of production, which is when Wendy is. So it's this beautiful arc of her life of watching her write. So stuff like that, you can yell at me all day long. Like, I know, because, we're us people who've lived a little bit in our 40s. We're like, I would love something that encapsulated my life, little chapters that I can place moments at. And it's just beautiful. So stories like that and watching her art increase is means the world to me, So it's things like that are meant. And then just being able to partner with some people who I find I'll never tell them who they are, but who are just better than me in every way of writing. And I get them to work under me so I look better. And that's important. That's very important.
That's a cool story, man. I dig that, man. That's pretty. Oh yeah, I could see how you'd be like just watching like each volume, how she just grows with the book, right? And
Right.
that's really awesome. That's cool. Getting back from Oz, was there anything in there that you gave like the writer and they came up with an idea and you're like, no, we cannot do this because we'll get torn apart? Was there anything you had to put like a veto on where you're like, no, we can't do this? Like you're gonna have to change it because people will tear us apart. Was there anything, any kind of stories or stuff that you can tell us that just didn't make the cut because you're too worried? Or
I mean, I'm trying to think if there's any one. There's a couple that I just don't, that aren't good to share. But no, not really. We let people do what they wanted to do. I mean, we killed a lot of characters, like in Cthulhu Invades Oz. We killed a lot of fan favorite characters, and we gave them. But everybody who did it with respect and for a greater cause for doing it. Even not to, well, I guess we could spoil it. Chuck, he wrote 2 parts, and one of the reasons why he wrote 2 parts is because he was going to do something really bad to Scarecrow. So he wanted to give something really good for Scarecrow too. So you got both. So
the balance.
Right, that balance. I'm going to do something really bad, so I'm going to give you the Scarecrow that you want before I do the Scarecrow I want. One for you, one for me.
Well, and even when bad things happened to the Scarecrow, it was still kind of a beautiful sacrifice of sorts. So even when rough things happened, there was still something. He was still a hero.
That was a great story. I think if you've missed that book, like you should try to grab Oz while you can on this campaign. That was really
Thank
cool.
you, homie. Thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, stuff like that has been really, really good. But no, we never had any major problems and no major issues. We've declined stories that were less productive. Like when we chose the Wonderland stories, there's some stories where they wanted to do some crazy things to the Cheshire Cat, and like. When I think of Cheshire Cat, it's not that I didn't like the story. It's just Cheshire Cat needs to be fun. It needs to be fun. So you doing something evil to the Cheshire Cat, though I can see the value of that story, we're only going to have one Cheshire Cat story in this book. You can't just, you got to have him have a little fun with what's going on. Because I think, that's the stuff. So there's stuff like that, but nothing, I hire great creators and I don't, it's not to do my own horn, but like, the creators I hire really have an art for storytelling, really want to tell beautiful and intimate stories.
Yeah.
So I don't have that problem.
Yeah, I didn't mean it in that way. I just meant like someone could have had a great, and you're like, yeah, that would be fucking cool, but we just can't, sometimes it's just, you just can't do it, right? Because like you said, there's a story that follows, so maybe that wouldn't fit in with the bigger picture, right? So yeah. So maybe like coming back later on and doing like those one shots, like you said, maybe you could explore some of those more that didn't really fit into the bigger picture. Maybe later on, like you were saying, you kind of thought of like, that'd be an interesting idea, especially for people that love these series. Let's say if you stop it after Neverland, you could come back with these little one shots after to give people just a little taste of it some more after, instead of the big anthology series. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you a secret. Chuck's gonna go because he's doing another show for this. Do you guys want to say goodbye to Chuck?
Yeah, bye, Chuck. Nice to meet
Take
you.
it easy, Chuck.
I really
Pleasure.
appreciate you guys having me on. I had a blast, and I hope to pop in again another time. Take care.
Man.
The part of Stonie was played by Chuck this evening. For those who are wanting Stonie. So I'll tell you the secret. Here's the secret. What I want to do after the 3 are done, I want to make a nice box set. But with that, I want to have a small little book called Cthulhu Invades Aftermath. And what that'll do is mix all 3 of the universes. So you'll see Dorothy and Alice and all of them in the same book. So we'll be able to touch some of those stories and play with who survives and do one big epic book that kind of breaks all the rules of what happened. Because, and the reason why I want to do it that way, if you're buying Wonderland, you're buying it for Wonderland. You don't want to see Dorothy in that. You want to see Alice, right? And if you're buying Neverland, you want to see Peter and Wendy and all those other characters distract. And I don't think they help. We're not trying to write fables here, right? We're trying to write, So having a book at the end that may kind of tie all this together allows us to tell some older stories too. Because I have a great idea of Dorothy being, Dorothy is the one who betrays Oz in the book. But having her doing like an underground railroad of getting characters out of Oz, I think would be really fun, right? Yeah, she betrayed him, but when she realizes it, trying to get these characters out could be a lot of fun. And what does that look like? And who helped?
That's cool, man. That sounds like it'd be pretty fun. Yeah.
Because serialized storytelling is really important to us. So if you buy an anthology from Orange Home Productions, even when we did Holiday Spirits was a Christmas one. Craig Florence did some stuff. It's all in one continuity. We tied it around the Christmas Ghost from I can't think of the name. Who wrote Christmas
Charles Dickens?
Yeah.
Charles Dickens. There we go. Sorry, I've done a lot of interviews. It's Friday night, 10 o'clock. I've had a beer or two. So the Ghost of Christmas, past, future, and present, all that are there, and they kind of tell that story. It's something that we like to do in Orange Cone. So when you get an anthology, it's also one story altogether, even though we do the typical anthology pieces. But there's one narrative that ties it all together for you.
So yeah, you brought up Red Cone again. That's your company. Orange. Why do I keep saying red? Man, it's Friday, like you said. Orange
Because
Cone.
If you mix pink and orange, it gets red?
Yeah.
Possibly. So people can go and buy your previous Kickstarters on your site, right? You have a site where they can buy the books after the Kickstarters. Let's say if someone missed the previous Kickstarter that they thought looked cool, and then they realize, oh shit, I missed out on that because, I don't know, there was a day left. When they came back, it was over. So I'm assuming everything you've done on Kickstarter, people can go on to your site at Orange Cone and pick up all these books, whether digitally or physical, if you have any stock left, right?
Yes, normally. I recently just took it down for a revamp. But before the end of this campaign, it'll be up. So, before the end of the month, it'll be up. But normally you can. And even if you can't, there's always a way. We have backer kit, and then we'll do a small little stint over at Indiegogo because some people don't like to jump platforms. So we'll put it on there and on demand. And then in our add-ons, if you back anything, you can pick up a Granet State Punk or a Broke Down in 4 Dead Bodies or Voodoo Nations. Any of those past properties you can add on as an add-on for very little money to get more of the books that you may have missed.
You mentioned Indiegogo, so you go there and throw your projects there. Are you thinking of maybe jumping over to Zoop and giving Zoop a try?
So I only do Indiegogo because I can do it on demand. So basically, after the campaign, they don't make me run a new campaign. They just open up my old campaign.
Okay.
So they do it. So Zoop, I like Zoop, but Zoop has really got to prove to me that it'd be a good place to go. Why I choose Kickstarter is it's got great search algorithms and it's got already proven creators. So we share and partner with each other.
Yeah.
I love Zoop. I actually have a deal with, I'm going to say it. If I get in trouble, whatever. A Band of Bards wants one of my properties. And we're talking about it. And I know that they're Zoop exclusive now. So you may find me over there. It won't be an Orange Cone project, but it'll be a Travis project. Okay.
Cool. Because Zoop is fairly new. I mean, it's been around for less than a year. So, I mean, they're sticking their toes in. So, I mean, if you give creators more options to get their books out there, I just see it as a good thing, right? So,
yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. Just Zoop, it's a new campaign, and I don't know if Zoop would really want that, right? If they would want my old stuff. I think they want new stuff on their campaigns. But Zoop is doing great stuff. What I love about Zoop is their intimacy with the creators, right? Hey man, you're not doing great. Can we take off $1,000 to get you a little closer to your goal to get you funded? Will that work for you? I don't know if you know that, but they do that. They'll extend it a couple of days. Like it's an intimate process. It's not, this is our rules, do it. No, it's like
they're pretty flexible.
Right. It's a partner with you to try to get you to where you need to go, which I think is a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. And hopefully it does really well because I'd love to try new platforms and get new audiences.
Cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That makes sense because I was talking to another creator from Zoop, and they were saying, "Oh, I might extend it an extra 10 days." They weren't sure how they're still kind of going over Zoop with they kind of explained it to me really quick. So now that makes sense why they weren't sure about they're playing it by ear. So that's pretty cool. It gives you flexibility, like you said, to change on the fly in case you might have an oversight or overlooked something, and you can kind of change it to try to help get your funding reach your goal. Yeah.
And I love, they don't have a lot on at the same time. They make it very intimate. There's only like 10 or 12 on at the same time. So they really are just highlighting the ones that are there. So they're doing some great stuff. It's just as someone who's kind of a rookie, like you said when we first started this, who's done this more than a few times, it's really hard to jump ship from something that's working to try something that may not.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's scary, but I do support them.
Yeah, I've asked a few other creators if they were thinking, especially when that whole blockchain news came out, and they're like, "Oh, like I have a following kind of on Kickstarter. They know like my projects come out, and it's always on Kickstarter. They're like, they're kind of afraid if they go somewhere else, they might lose some of that following, right? So there's always that anxiety of like changing, like anything in life, right? A new challenge, the unknown." There's always that little bit of nervousness and anxiety that goes with it.
With the whole downfall of the NFT scene and stuff over the past couple of months, I mean, it's not as popular as I thought it was going to be. I wonder if Kickstarter is even going to go anywhere with that blockchain rigmarole they rolled out with, because that whole scene isn't as lucrative as it was originally thought to be. So.
Yeah, they came out with an email about a month ago that kind of said that they're not doing it. They're not rushing. Not that they're not doing it, but it's not something they're rushing. You don't need to worry about it. It's like a long-term plan, not like we're going to do it tomorrow and switch over. But some of the other things that they've talked about that came with the blockchain were really exciting, where people can make like apps like a WordPress. Like I'm in web development. So having apps that could make my page look better or like could do cool things with my page is super enticing for me, right? Because their system's semi-basic. Indiegogo's layout is way nicer, but it's not a friendly place for various reasons. And it doesn't have all the features. It doesn't have the community like Kickstarter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, that's cool that you could customize your, like you said, your campaign page to make it differentiate it from something else to really make it stand out. That's definitely a cool idea, like you said. So I could see how like someone, especially if you're promoting something, if you can get that little edge that makes your project stand out more than someone else's, why wouldn't you welcome that, right? Because all it's going to do is help you fund your projects, which is definitely a cool idea.
And that's where Zoop accelerates, because they're specialized, and why they'll accelerate it long term is they're specializing in comics, right?
Comics, yeah.
When Kickstarter adds an implement, you're like, that implement sucks for us. Yeah, it's not for you. They did that for the gaming community because they really needed that, right? Mm-hmm. So it really stressful to us figuring out, but they just implemented stuff that's really good for the users. Like they just made us dictate if it has a digital or physical in it, like you have to manually say it. So if I owe someone a physical, it will clearly state that there's a physical involved in it. Because I think a lot of people got screwed over. They thought they were getting physical, and then they only got digital. This allows them to make that very, very clear. So there's stuff that they're doing. The add-on system is really, really good, but it doesn't integrate with some of the other things. If we can make some changes, some small, awesome changes, I think the Kickstarter platform could be a lot better. But every change they make makes it closer to being a store, which is something they are actively trying to say they're not,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
They are a store. Shh. But they clearly say they're not.
Yeah. Well, I got to say, man, like since the pandemic started, I mean, it's crazy how much the comics have really just exploded on Kickstarter. Like there was just a boom of just, like the industry shut down for a bit. So people were like starving for like, what was it, shut down for about a month, almost 2. Yeah. So people were just starving for content, right? So why not Kickstarter? Like it was already starting to build a reputation, a good reputation. And then when this hit, it was like the perfect storm for it just to explode. And now, like, how many Kickstarters for comics are out there? It's
Probably
insane.
about 300 a month, something like
I
that.
scroll through it and you get lost in it now. So like you said, if they're offering you something to customize your page, especially amongst all these people, all it'll do is help you stand out more because there's so much out there now, and it's crazy. It's crazy how much content is out there on Kickstarter.
Well, I've even found, before the Substack thing, this is some deep cuts, but I'm in groups that talk about this stuff. Like Donnie Cates' Vanish that he does in his Substack was going to be a Kickstarter book. Mm-hmm. Imagine if Donnie Cates would have came over, right? Someone in his prime, Scott Snyder came over and killed it, right? When he came over with
Noctera, yeah,
with the special stuff, So imagine, and all it takes is a few people. And I'm sure that Brandon Peterson, is that his name? Brandon
Sanderson, I think.
The 1 million
41 million, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure there is comic people who are pros who are like, I need to put a book on there and we're just going to see that blow up, and that's going to continue to help the platform.
I mean, he's done a bunch of graphic novels with Vault, so I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't try his hand at Kickstarter comics as well as normal prose novels.
That would be great.
So I'd like to get back to Nathan and Chris, man. Like, I want to hear a pitch for Neverland, man. Let's throw a pitch at Travis. Sell him on an idea. Come on. Have you given it any thought, knowing that now Neverland's coming? Or
man, I remember when he originally posted to I think the production group for Wonderland. He said, "Hey, Neverland's going to be next," and people jumped in with good ideas. And I did jump in with something, but I don't even think it was a good idea. So I don't know. I might be like Travis said. There's so few characters on this one. It's going to be tricky.
Yeah.
Plus, like, my niche is finding these like small, tiny characters and try to do something interesting with them. And yeah, I think that's a little bit harder to do in Neverland. Yeah.
Neverland, yeah. Is it so? With that in mind, with less characters, is it going to be a smaller book, or is it still going to be roughly like a 200-page book?
It'll be a smaller book. It'll be a smaller cast. I will encourage the writers to do more pages. So I'm going to up it to you can do 10 to right now, the highest you can do is 8. So I'll up it to 12. So I'll write it and do 12 pages. So half an issue, which is pretty cool. Do that. But some people have come up with some really cool ideas. Someone pitched me, can I do Peter Pan's shadow? I was like, well, that wasn't a character. It is now. Can I do my wife is going to write a story. She's like, I really want to do Neverland, but you have so many characters. We want to make sure that the people who do this on the regular. And I was like, what, honey, you own the company. You can do whatever the hell you want with me. But she's going to do the person who sells prosthetic arms and legs to people. Which is funny. There's clearly that's characters in Neverland, clearly, but it doesn't have a name. So she's going to make a character. So maybe that's your niche, Nathan. Maybe you got to come up with an off the wall one that isn't on the list that you can do it. And I love Craig. So you have a good advantage if you can convince Craig.
All right. What do you want to draw, Craig? It'll be up to you.
I honestly, it's funny. I've like always wanted to do something in that world. So I mean, even if it's like if you need a print or something, like I'd love to do something. I don't know, but I love Peter Pan. And
since you're a pirate guy, man, I figured Captain Hook right up your alley.
Yeah, well, there's so many. There's just so I love all of it. The whole thing. So yeah, can't go wrong really.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. The body parts thing you said. Because you could go down like the body horror route, like where it's, that's interesting that your wife picked that. I like that, man. That's
my wife's a cool.
I could see how you could get like weird with it, like go in some like really dark places with that. Yeah.
And Peter Pan's the toughest one because there's only one book, right? Okay. There's not tons of source material, and at the end of the book, because we normally go from where we ended. Captain Hook's eaten by the crocodile. So what do we do? Do we let him come out? How does that work? Does the book not have Captain Hook? Do we have the replacement of Captain Hook? What do we do? Where do we put it? So those are a lot of questions that I have some answers that I won't share, but that we'll have to figure out.
That's cool, man. Yeah. So I'm gonna go back and we'll recap. Cthulhu Invades Wonderland. You have 6 days left to back this book. It's fully funded. You've got 600 and let's say 90. We'll round it up to 90 backers. Every 50 backers, you get additional digital content added on. You get an additional digital comic, which you're up to, I think, almost 12 added books. So if they hit 700, you'll have another book that you can read. So get out there. There's 6 days left to back this. Back it. And don't forget, this is the second part. There's Invades Oz, which you can back both. You can get the catch-up tier where you get both volumes. So, and it's a continuation, like Travis said. It's a story that continues one into the other. But like Chuck said, you can still enjoy just the Wonderland book alone. So you don't have to get both, but it's definitely recommended to get both because you'll probably get more out of it. So yeah. So you guys go back this book on Kickstarter. 6 days left. Mark it. Make yourself a reminder. Don't forget. Go back it.
And then, let me show you this. Let's do an exclusive here because I haven't posted it yet. So you get a little bit of edge if you're watching the video right now. If you want to share my screen.
Hey, Johnny. Johnny, you there, man?
He does not want to share my screen. He does not.
I think.
Oh,
Johnny,
my bad. I'm muted.
put Travis up. Yeah.
Okay. Just blow his screen up
there we
big.
No, I gotta share.
Okay. How do I do that?
You hit
Don't
the
you have
button
to
that
share
says
it
share.
first? Yeah.
I shared at the bottom, so you'll see it on the bottom that I want to share it. Clearly, exclusive is not something that happens at Pink Buzz very often. You see it at the bottom?
Yeah.
There you go.
Sorry about
no,
that.
you want to share the screen that you want to go down to the picture. You see the picture at the bottom that says Travis Gibb, and there's not me. There's a picture.
Okay. Sorry about that.
There you go. Right there. So that is so this is a print that's going to be at 40,000. It's being colored right now. But isn't that amazing? So that's going to be for every physical backer.
Wow.
At 40,000.
That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah. That's going to be done by Dave Smits did the art, and then Patrick from Granet State Punk, because he has that unique coloring, that very crazy coloring. He's going to color it.
Yeah. Very nice, man. Very nice.
If you like it. So I haven't even announced that to the Cthulhu backers yet, but that's the next stretch goal.
Very cool.
Yeah, we've unlocked.
So at 40, you say?
At 40,000, yeah. So we've already unlocked two. So the first one we unlocked is we added two new stories. David Byrne from Scout, also the publisher of Scout, did a story. And then we added Brian Hawkins, who does stuff for Black Boss.
Yeah.
He wrote a story. He wrote an epilogue with Alice's sister, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So those stories got added to the book, and they're being made right now. We have a print of all the characters in the book versus each other. So you remember how I told you Loyal and thing? So I posted that, and then this is the third thing. So you'll get two prints added to the book as well, free of charge. And these will be full-size prints.
At 40. So what are you at right now on the
38.
What number? You're at 38. All right. So people that have already backed the book, get out there and just push it, man. Share, retweet, if you want to get this print, you got to do your part, right? You can't just sit back and be like, oh, I backed it. I did my part. No, these guys need you to help them promote. Like they get out there, like Travis says, he's burnt out. He just did what, 2-3 today?
Right.
Let the guy have a night off. Retweet and push this book for him, Let these guys have a little break so they can actually work on other things and enjoy their families as well. So 2,000 2,000 left, right? Then you hit 40. Yeah.
It's a 1900 actually. We got 100 there, so we're good. 1900 left.
So just need to convince a few people to go back that box set. You know,
Right.
that'll get you there pretty quick.
So
Yeah,
it's
a beautiful,
happen.
beautiful box set.
Kickstarter gets a big push the last couple of days. People want to jump on, so that's happened.
See, when I back Kickstarters, I either get in early or I go in late. I like to see like in the first days to see how well, like if it's got a lot of hype, it's getting a lot of steam, it doesn't need the help in the beginning. And then if I see, then I kind of keep it for the last week or so, and I'll get in there and I'll like back it and then give it a little bump, and retweet and say, oh, I just backed it. So it depends how the Kickstarter is doing. If it's like funded within the first day, I'm like, bah, they didn't need any help, man. Everyone was into this big time. But I kind of watch it a little bit and see how it's going. So yeah, you guys did pretty good though. So you're 6 days, you're up to what, 30% funded, 140%. So that's pretty solid especially for a bigger book like this, an anthology.
Yeah, it's 127. Yeah. And I expected, I'll be honest, I did not expect it to do as well. I expected us fighting till the end. I've been super blessed by the community and by the love for this book and the passion for it. We've been doing really, really good.
Yeah, like Johnny, man, I don't know if there's anything beyond a super backer for Kickstarter, but Johnny would definitely have that badge because, I mean, that's pretty much how he gets most of his comics now, man. I mean,
trades
and Kickstarters. Trades and Kickstarters. That's
what do you got, Johnny? How many you got? Let's see if you're beating me because I've got a high number too.
I got 140, 140, 146, something like that, somewhere around there.
That's child's play. I got 651.
Yeah, I only started about a year ago though, so I
all right, you got to catch up.
Yeah, but I'm doing pretty good, I'd say, for somebody that's only been doing it for as little bit of a time as I have, and it's pretty much my main source of comics. I mean, like I do get trades for my books that I have read forever, but like I've been lax. I haven't been checking out all the scout stuff that everybody's always telling me about because all my money goes into Kickstarters because it's just so innovative, everything that I see coming out of it. And it's so like when I was a kid, I was really into punk rock because I liked just the primitiveness of the music, and that's kind of what Kickstarter comics are like to me. Like you get to see what the people came up with when they were the rawest, when they were at their most formidable, and I think it stands up to some of the shit that you have to pay top dollar for that they call pro work. So like, I really don't think I'm missing out too much.
No, I agree. And long term, I think it's going to pay off. Because all you need is a small percentage of them to go over and do something else, right? Get signed by another publisher, and now your stuff is so limited, because they only printed like 500 or whatever they printed. You're going to do really well.
I didn't even think about it like that. I just enjoy the reading experience personally.
Yeah.
But I can see big things in your future, dog.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
How long have you had your, I'll get it right, Orange Cone production company? How long has this been a thing? How long when did you start it up, and how long has it been running?
So it started up in 2018. I've been making comics since 2002, but I took a break to raise a child, in the middle, like you do. When you have one of those, you're just like, all right, yeah. I guess I'll raise you. Got married, divorced, all the normal things that happens. And then one day I'm sitting with my wife, my current wife, and she looked at it and she's like, you have 2 issues of a comic book on a jump drive that's completely done that you've never done anything with. I was like, yeah. She's like, that's stupid as hell. And I agreed with that statement. So I took those 2 issues, made one really good issue, and that was Broke Down and 40 Bodies #1. And then I haven't looked back. And I'm very close to making it my career. Like it's
so that was your first one, because that was the first one I remember hearing from you. I remember seeing you on Jake West's Comics Collectors Club with him and Melissa White, and you gave me a preview or a digital copy of it to review, and I was like, hell yeah! So.
Yeah. That was one of my earlier ones. Yeah, I mean, I have comics before that from 2002, so I did a backup in Government Bodies. Are you guys old school enough to know Negative Burns?
Yeah, of course.
So I've written for Negative Burns. So I wrote for Negative Burns when it was with Image.
Right.
Not when the cool class was there, Bendis and Alan Moore and Neil Gaiman, but same book. So I'm basically the same caliber, right? That's the way that works.
Was Phil Hester still there?
What's that?
Was Phil Hester still working there for it?
Not in my particular issue, but I think he did like 2 issues before it. Yeah. But Joe Pruitt, who runs Aftershock, was there. So that's a big one. So I do have a little bit of Image cred. The saddest part about it, though, it's an Image book, but they had just switched companies right before they sent, so it has a Desperado logo on it. So it's because they switched companies, but it shipped out through Image, and like in the fine print, it's Image. But I'm like, damn it, I don't have the logo. I need the logo.
Well, anybody knows this stuff knows Desperado's Image. You know what I mean? Like,
right. So yeah, it's and I think Negative Burn, people know it. They know they actually don't even care about the Image one. They care about the Caliber one, way back in the day. So I was in that and did a couple small anthologies until I, came back, and I've been hit the ground running over here and doing a whole bunch of stuff.
Cool. I just want to ask you guys each, we're talking about comics. Is there anything out there right now that you would like to recommend to someone to go pick up that you think people should be checking out? Or, just give a shout out to something you think people should go check out because you think it's just the bomb.
Recently, I've been reading Bitterroot. Somebody just recommended that to me, and I hadn't. Whatever, it flew under the radar for me, and I love it. I think that's great. So if you managed to miss that, I would recommend checking that out.
Yeah, and the third trade about to come out for that, I think
so. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's in that ballpark.
Yeah.
Ah, cool, man. Yeah, I've heard good things about it. I haven't read that yet, but I have the first. I have the first volume. Yeah, my backlog is just so insane. It's depressing. It's sickening. How about you, Nathan? Man, what's been floating your boat these days?
I mean, I'm really trying to catch up on stuff I missed out on when I took a break from comics. So I'm like going through Ed Brubaker's entire catalog slowly but surely. Especially Criminal, just everything out of that. I got those deluxe
deluxe hardcovers.
Covers. They're just so beautiful. And then Craig turned me on to Black Sad about a month ago now, so I've got all those now. I'm working through those. Those are just the most gorgeous thing. And I love detectives. I love sort of noir and gumshoe stuff, and those just really scratch that itch for me.
Cool. Yeah, I dig the deluxe hardcovers too, man. They're awesome. I just picked up all 3 volumes of the Deadly Class deluxe hardcovers.
Nice.
Yeah, they reprinted volume 1 and 2, so I was like, I got to get it, especially because Johnny will just throw me off the show if I don't read that. So that's just one of Johnny's favorites, so I got to get on that. How about you, Travis, man? What's
all right, you ready?
Yeah.
All right, Marvel, Chip Zdarsky's Daredevil. You need to be reading it. DC, you got to be reading Robin by Joseph Williamson. It's the best thing out there. It's so good. For Image, I recommend Silver Coin. I'm really loving Silver Coin. I love the anthology feel of it and everything. But if you're not reading that, read Stillwater. Also, Chip.
But I love that it's like the opposite of what other. Like anthologies, like it's the same artists and it's the writers that change instead of the writer with the artist changing. I love how they just flip the script there. It's kind of, it gives it a bit more of a fresh, and you get the continuity of, because I find sometimes like this is the problem I had with Scumbag is I found like when you change artists for each issue, it's almost like when you watch a show and you change the actors that play the characters in each one, and it kind of, I got a disconnect from it. Like I enjoyed it, but maybe not as much as if it was the same artist. Like maybe doing like maybe not every issue, but do like three issue arcs. And I find it took me out of the story a bit. Anyway, that was just an observation from Silver Coin that I liked. Like the visual continuity, like it just feels complete, like the same thing. So
and you're not wrong. I mean, look at Department of Truth. Look at the drop when he switched artists for a little bit and then came back. You can visually see it. Like you're not it just happens when you switch. You know, where it doesn't matter how good the story was, because the quality of the story didn't decrease. It just the art changed, and you're like, I don't know if I vibe with this. This could be my jump off point, right?
Yeah. Well, you get used to it, right? Like a team working together, you get the synchronicity of the two working together, and the beats, they feed off each other, and then maybe you don't get that same chemistry when you switch it up a little bit, and it loses that magic a little, or I don't know, you know, like when you get a good creative team together, it's awesome. When they're firing on all cylinders and they're in sync, like you get some great stuff, and it's just fun to read when you get two creators that are just, you know, on the same page.
So Boom, Once and Future, you got to be reading Once and Future. Just getting better every time I read it. For Mad Cave at Nottingham, killer book, love it.
I think the new issue 6 just dropped this week. For the next art.
So good. For Scout, I got 3. I like Recount, I like Stake, and I like Electric Black. Those are my jams. Probably Electric Black a little more than the rest, but the other 2 know where I live, so I feel like they got to get credit. Even though actually the Electric Black guy knows where I live too, because he's been at my house and I've been at his house. But still, the other ones live in Florida. And then for Kickstarter, White Ash, which I know is a Scout book, but White Ash and anything by Comics Tribe. So Happy Hill, Sig, Gig, like you just
Comics Tribe. We love it. We're big fans of Comics Tribe here on the show. So everything that's come out.
Yeah,
we're pushing John Lees to put out a hardcover of, like, we've been up his ass, kind of be like, John, man, you got to put out a hardcover for, and then Emily was gone, right? And he was like, yeah, I don't know if people will buy that. I was like, what? Yeah, people will buy it, man. Like, he's like, I'm probably talking to the 5 only guys that would buy it when he was on the show. And we started laughing. I was like, no, man, for sure. If they did a hardcover of that, I'd back it day one for sure. No problem.
Yeah. The only thing that, like, so I remember reading Crimson Cage, like the first issue. And I was like, I don't love this. I'm very confused. And then every issue, as I've gone back and read the first issue, okay, I do love it. It just took me a minute. But you know, Sync and Hotel, like I couldn't wait for the next issue. Like it jumped the stack. Like back in the day when Walking Dead first came out, remember it had to jump the stack because somebody could die, you know? You know, especially when, you know, the mayor was there or Negan, you know, you had to jump the stack on that stuff. And John Lees is that for me. He jumps the stack every issue. So excited about Hotel coming out, the last issue coming out next month. I'm excited about where that's going. And you know, like I said, I pitched him and he's working on 2 other books. What the hell is he working on? I want to know, because Sync's been done. Dig's done.
It's coming out. It's coming out now.
If you actually
digital,
I got the digitals.
Yeah. Johnny's been preaching John Lees since I've known him. Like, Johnny's the one who's like, you got to read Sync. So I went and read Sync, and I was like, oh my god.
He's doing Sync 3 though, right? After Dig, so he might be getting started on that.
No, those are already written.
Are they? Okay.
Yeah. That's I follow top. So those are already written. So I don't know what he's writing. So I'm super stoked. Hopefully more AEW stuff, or hopefully he's got a little upgrade like our boy David Pepos from the OZ. You know, doing some Savage Avengers.
Maybe he got. I could see him doing something over at DC too, like with his style. It's, you know, it'd fit in maybe on a few DC books out there with some characters a little darker, a little more, you know, cynical and funny. You know, it would probably fit well with some of those DC characters.
Well, maybe he scored another IDW book too. I mean, Mountain Head was a masterpiece. I mean,
that's
they're
true.
suckers for not giving him more work more often.
And Aftershock's really good at looking what's good at IDW, at Boom, or what Vault, and go, hey, guys, you want to come over here and write a quick book?
It's one of my second favorite label after Image, man. Aftershock is amazing. They have their finger on the pulse. They know what's up.
Yeah. Scout's Honor would probably be my most recent favorite for Aftershock. I did like Bunny Mask, but I felt like it shouldn't be part 1 and part 2. Like, I need more to understand what's going on. Yeah, absolutely. And then Vault Automol was so good.
Yeah, a lot of people like that. I see that a lot on a lot of people's lists for recommendation for vault books, especially in like horror recommendations. Everyone always throws that one in there all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so good. I bought it for friends for Christmas. Like, it's so good.
Cool. Yeah, man. Those are great lists you guys threw out there. So, man, all those books are great. Of the ones I've read and from what I hear through the grapevine, then all those are all winners. So, yeah. And obviously, we'll get back to it because we'll probably wrap up soon, hour and a half. It was great having you guys, but don't forget, before we go, 6 days left, Cthulhu Invades Wonderland. Go back it on Kickstarter. 6 days. You're missing about just under 2,000 to hit the next stretch goal where you get a print, another print added to the stretch goals, another 10 backers to hit 700. You'll get another added digital book. So people who have already backed it, get out there, push the word, push this book so you can get that print. And let's help these guys,
I'll give you one more incentive too.
Yeah.
When we get close to 40, I'm going to feel more comfortable to reprint some of those hardcovers. A lot of people want the hardcover Oz, and it's sold out.
The Oz hardcover sold out. Okay.
Yeah, but with the printing short, like literally, like I'll share my stuff. It's like almost $20 a book right now because of the paper shortage. Like,
so the people that already backed, if you get to the 40, they'll be able to upgrade to that hardcover they wanted.
Correct. Yeah, I'll be able to feel comfortable with ordering like another 25 or 50 of those hardcovers, and not have to worry about it. Because Kickstarter takes a huge fee, if you don't know. And the creators, paying the creators is like $15,000. There's a lot there.
Yeah. So yeah, man, the people who wanted that Oz hardcover,
yeah,
retweet it, man. Tell people, tell your friends, tell your mom, even though your mom doesn't want to read it, buy it for your mom. I don't know. Just get out there, get it done, guys. Get it done. So you guys want to give any parting words to the viewers, the people who are watching?
Want to guys plug your socials really quick, like your Instagrams and what have yous?
Well, mine's right here on the below there. I'm at crc.r.florence on Instagram, Twitter. And yeah, just go check out this book. It's awesome. I'm glad to be on here chatting with you guys, and thanks for listening. Very exciting.
Yeah, and I'm at my full name is my Twitter and my Instagram too. So follow either one of those, and then keep up with us. And Craig and I will have more about Black Sam in the coming months. So check that out too. And then of course back this. It's a great book.
And for me, Jester Lou is where you can find me. But I do want to say, last thing I want to say, I really love, Johnny, the story that, you followed me from since the beginning. So that's just really cool. I love meeting people who've been around through the whole arc, even if you don't realize it when you put it all together. That's just great. I appreciate that.
And no problem, man. And I love being able to support you for so long, or at least try to. But yeah. It's been great to meet you, but Joe, you got any last words you want to say to these guys?
Man, I just got to say, I love your work. What I've read so far, it's been great. Back this campaign. Go check out Orange Cone. Their other content is amazing. You got the Granet State Punk. You got Travis has been at it for a while, so they've got a pretty good catalog of books there. So if you enjoyed anything from Orange Cone, go check out the site, go pick up some of the other books. The more you support these guys, the more great content they can put out. So go back it. Cthulhu Invades Wonderland.
All right. And this was another very excellent episode of Pink Buzz. We're really happy to have you guys all join us, and all the people that were in the chat and listened. We appreciate you all. If you're new here, please don't be a stranger. Throw us a like and a subscribe. It really helps these fellows like these guys get better known. Helps get their name out there. Helps maybe land them some other interviews. So yeah, go ahead and just don't be shy, and you know, it also helps our show out a little bit. So until next time, this is Johnny from Pink Buzz saying, don't stop reading awesome comics, don't stop listening to awesome music, and don't stop supporting excellent movies. Pink Buzz out.